A world where children don't have to worry about food, but can instead focus on learning and growth. According to the report, 34.7% of the children aged under 5 in India are stunted, that is too short for their age, while 20% suffer from wasting, meaning their weight is too low for their height. Malnourished children have a higher risk of death from common childhood illness such as diarrhea, pneumonia, and malaria. According to the UNICEF report, 8.8 lakh children under 5 years of age lost their life due to starvation in 2018. Just imagine, in COVID, in more than 1.5 years, we lost about 4,60,000 only the life. Every year, 8.8 lakhs children are losing their life. This is the reality. Another big problem which children are facing is of child labor. Child labor accounts for 22% of the workforce in Asia, 32% in Africa, 17% in Latin America, 1% in the US, Canada, Europe, and other wealthy nations. 1% in US, Canada, Europe, and other wealthy nations, vis-a-vis 22% in Asia. In 2015, India is home to the largest number of children who are working illegally in various industrial industries. Agriculture in India is the largest sector where many children work at early ages to help support their family. Many of these children are forced to work at young age due to many family factors such as unemployment, large families, poverty, and lack of parental education. This is often the major cause of the high rate of child labor in India. India contributes to 1/3 of Asia's child labor and 1/4 of the world's child labor. India has legislation since 1986 which allows work by children in non-hazardous industry. In 2013, the Punjab and Haryana High Court gave a landmark order that directed that there shall be a total ban on the employment of children up to the age of 14 years, be it hazardous or non-hazardous industries. However, the court ruled that a child can work with his or her family in family-based trades, occupations for the purpose of learning a new trade, craftsmanship or vocation. According to the ILO, there are around 12.9 million Indian children engaged in work between the age of 7 to 17 years old. When children are employed or doing unpaid work, they are less likely to attend school or attend only intermittently, trapping them in the cycle of poverty. Millions of Indian girls and boys are going to work every day in quarries and factories or selling cigarettes on the street. The majority of these children are between 12 and 17 years old and work up to 16 hours a day to help their families make ends meet. But child labor in India can start even earlier, with an estimated 10.1 million children between the age of 5 and 14 old engaged in work. As children get older, their involvement in employment also increases. In India, 20% of all children aged 15 to 17 years old are involved in hazardous industries and jobs. Measuring the exact scale of child labor in India is difficult as it is often hidden and underreported. There are almost 18 million, that is 1.8 crore children between the ages of 7 to 17 years old who are considered inactive in India, neither in employment nor in school. These missing girls and boys in India are potentially subject to some of the worst form of child labor. Next big problem children are facing is of illiteracy. Today, education remains an inaccessible right for millions of children across the world. More than 72 million children of primary education age are not in school. Less than half of India's children between the age of 6 and 14 go to school. A little over 1/3 of all children who enroll in grade 1 reach grade 8. At least 35 million children aged 6 to 14 years do not attend school. 53% of the girls in the age of 5 to 9 years are illiterate. So these are two sides of coin. One side where we consider children are blessings. The other side where the children are not considered as blessings, rather they are considered as thorn in the families, those who doesn't have any means, or those who want the children to earn money so that they can have the food. To discuss this very, very important topic, we would like to, we have a very elite, knowledgeable panelists are with us, those who have seen the life and those who are connected directly or indirectly with the children. And I would like to invite my first panelist guest, and he is Dr. Rajivanan. Dr. Rajivanan is the senior psychiatrist and marriage counselor. Dr. Rajivanan passed his MBBS in 1976 and did MD in psychiatry in 1980 from King George Medical College, Lucknow. He opted to serve his country when it was very common to settle abroad for brighter future. He has been serving society with his base in Mumbai. He has clients all over India as well as in many other countries. He was honored with Lifetime Achievement Award by AMA. He has conducted more than 3,000 workshops for different group and companies with audience size of 10 to 800. His television program on various channels have been widely appreciated for his forthright and practical approach. He is leading in the field of mental and emotional well-being for 41 years. He was president of IMA for 2 times. He was interviewed in several talk shows domestically and internationally. Welcome, Dr. Rajivanan, on our show. Dr. Rajivanan, although the topic is very flowery, very attractive, children are blessings. But as I read the report, there are, I said earlier, said 2 sides of coins, blessings as well as somewhere they are not considered as blessings. We would like to know, as a senior psychiatrist, you are seeing all types of people and you are counseling them, and you know what are the situation, what are the challenges the children are facing. We would like to know your views on children are blessings. Dr. Rajivanan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Lal. Thank you for the introduction and welcome to Kiritraj, Manuja, Vibha, Jain, and Shraddha Arka from Kutch. Interestingly, all 3 are lady speakers and I am the only man. And children do not belong to only girls, they also belong to the man in the society. Usually, so far it had been taken for granted the children would gravitate more towards mother, which I also did in my childhood. But then there's much more a man need to understand, and man need to play the role, which current generation most fathers are doing. In the earlier programs, many times we have used this, which can be called cliche or which can be called routine sentence. Any society which doesn't have a respect for the old people degenerate much faster. I remember having said any society which doesn't respect the woman, any country, any sexual society, doesn't have a bright future. And equally so, I'm ready to say, ready to stretch my earlier statement, any society which doesn't celebrate or which does not give the due due respect to the children also suffers. Yes, theoretically, we could say the children are the building blocks of the society. Theoretically, yes. Why not practically too? Today, each one of us, and the person is allowed to, each one of us, whatever we are and wherever we are there because of our parents cared for us. Parents celebrated us. I take delight, experience it's a matter of pride for me. Leave aside anything else, height, weight, looks, etc. The education the parents provided to us, the unending, infinite love they provided to us, that made us where we are today. If today I have an inbuilt system to respect every woman, irrespective of her profession, which can be highest to the lowest, to the other people's eyes. For me, she's a human being. She's a woman. Because I saw that attitude in my parents. So back to how children could be blessing. It's very interesting and very tragic that maybe no statistics prove in, yet I can safely say that 85-90% people work mechanically, get up, get ready, go to the office, work mechanically, draw a salary, get back home, eat food, go to sleep, to get up again next day morning. What is the purpose of life? Earning salary, managing all the bills to be paid, producing children more because of biological requirement and biological compulsions, all because of social compulsions that औरों के हो गए हमारा नहीं हुआ. Or there's a bigger purpose. And let me highlight the bigger purpose. क्या हम दुनिया में सिर्फ खाने, पीने, सोने, कमाने के लिए आए हैं? तो उसके लिए फिर हमारे आने की जरूरत क्या थी? चलता रहता. जब एक छोटा सा पेड़ भी बहुत सारे पेड़ों को जन्म देने के लिए बहुत सटल वे में अपने सीड्स को फैलाने का इंतजाम करता है, कि वो छोटी सी गिलहरी भी कहाँ से सीड्स को कलेक्ट करके और कहाँ तक पहुंचाने का काम करती है. कि बहुत सारी बर्ड्स डायरेक्टली इनडायरेक्टली इन्वॉल्व होती है कि कैसे प्लांटेशन, कैसे ग्रीनरी को फैलाया जाए. तो नेचर वांट्स perpetuation. Nature wants sustenance of the species. Nature wants sustenance of the society. And each one of us is an important link, important block in that. As I said at the beginning, sadly, tragically, 85-90% people are blissfully unaware about it. कि हमारे बच्चे जो हैं वो हमारी responsibility है, क्योंकि हमें उन्हें responsible citizen बनाना है, हमें उन्हें respecting citizen बनाना है, ताकि वो हमारी आने वाली society का एक important component हो. और वो जब हो पाएगा जब हम खुद बनेंगे. Why to call children as blessing? I would call everything happening in our life as a blessing, provided we open the cover and see what is the blessing behind. I treat marriage, the conventional marriage between a boy and a girl, the first major turning point in the life. When you get close to a woman, or a woman get close to a man, and they celebrate it with so much of band baja barat. But in many people's case, thereafter the life gets stagnant. No further expansion, no further happiness due to social reasons, emotional reasons, biological reasons, and other reasons. Till many of them, when they have a baby, it may sound a little odd to say, but that's a second major turning point of the life, equivalent to the marriage. Because in marriage, they get closer and they celebrate their togetherness in so many different ways. When they get a common bond between two of them, that's the child, that's a new turning point, it's a new journey. Children were required not for upping the flag and showing to the world that we are biologically capable of producing a child. In case of a man, in case of a woman, the other purpose was much, much more than that. That we are responsible for creating a significant, a responsible unit for the future. So, rearing of the child is a very important aspect of every human growth. A new trend is emerging, which is disturbing. People are losing the value of having a child. We had a program a few weeks back, childless marriage. People are getting misguided that if they're having enough salary, why look for a child? You can survive. Why to look for a marriage? Or even another thing, that freezing the act that way, one Gujarati newspaper had interviewed me on the changing of the act. Why are we losing the significance of the children? And who has given us the right to decide their destiny? Because we have X number of ovary, or we have sperms. So we think we can direct the course of the life of the children in the future. that we can prevent them from coming, or we would decide them. In that way, we are playing with the nature. Many such aspects which are rarely discussed need to be talked aloud. And I'm really genuinely happy and grateful to Mr. Lal. In contrast to many noise-making debates and noise-making breaking news on various channels, here we have a serious platform where many such issues can be discussed extensively. They can be discussed threadbare, and something comes out which touches people's core. And many people give feedback to Mr. Lal about various contents of this program. So after marriage, bringing of the child is extension of the life, extension of the togetherness, the process called togetherness. Why I'm talking about this, more than my qualification or more than my degree or more than my academic practice. I've been personally a co-traveler. That's more as a human being, as a friend of the practitioner, than as a therapist. In many people's life who didn't have a child, who were very happily married with each other, and they were very happily starting the marriage without the child. And they were adamant that if a child would come, our love would diminish. And they went on for a few years. Still, everybody together prevailed over them. No, go for the child. And they accepted it. Thereafter, the life changed for them forever. Their persona, their personality, their attitude, their happiness, everything changed unbelievably when they had a baby in their house. Today, the baby, a particular one, is now 27-year-old based in Toronto. Or in some of the cases where the baby was not there, after long wait and after long denial of anything else, eventually people could be convinced to adopt a child. And when they adopted a child, the life for the couple changed. Fair enough, in certain cases, due to biological reasons, somebody can't conceive. Or maybe the right intervention could take place in the right time. But that's not the end of life. We owe it to the world, we owe it to the society to rear up a child. There have been people who could be convinced and they adopted a baby, and the baby is thriving very well, studying very well, learning fluent English, speaking fluent English, socializing. So are the parents happy? I have seen from the closest quarter the amount of happiness, degree of happiness, depth of happiness, which a child brings to the family. There have been people whom I have seen, I have heard in first-person account, the crying mothers, the grown-up mothers who have shared their agony. हमारा बच्चा नहीं हुआ होता तो हम सुखी रहते, इस बच्चे ने हमारा जीना आराम कर दिया है, ये बच्चा पैदा ही नहीं हुआ होता तो हम ज्यादा खुश रहते. It made me think about, fair enough, on the face of it we can blame the child, but is that all? Why we should have many children? Why we should have a dozen or half dozen children? Why we should produce them like assembly line? Why we should have a careless attitude, irresponsible attitude? Why we should leave it to the nature would grow them? Why we should leave it to nature, the government, they would educate them and they would be responsible for growing up children? No. Child is our responsibility, our blessings. We need to grow it. We need to take charge of it. I'm delighted all three women over here, they know this sensitivity. Whatever they are earning, whatever profession they are doing, whatever social status they have, their heart cries for their child. That's the biggest bonding, that's the biggest joy. I very often say, a girl apparently gets married to the boyfriend or long for getting married, or long for getting a suitable guy to get married to. But her ultimate aim is to become mother. I want this thing to go down to many people's mind as early as possible. They look for a handsome guy, they look for a tall guy, they look for a fair complexion guy, they look for a well-muscled guy, they look for a stronger guy so that the progeny would be stronger. The main concern is bearing a baby who should be from the good gene makeup, genetic makeup. Motherhood, for a woman, is greatest experience. The purpose of my mentioning or emphasis on the motherhood is that for centuries, man has absolved himself from this responsibility. तुम्हारे बच्चे शैतानी करते हैं, तुम्हारे बच्चे शोर करते हैं, तुम्हारे बच्चे मुझे पेपर नहीं पढ़ने देते, तुम्हारे बच्चे मुझे घर में नहीं आने देते, तुम्हारे बच्चे. And all women realize, तुम्हारे बच्चे, have I produced them on my own? Are they my own? And most husbands, they get afraid, they get frustrated. It's only your child. They don't know how to handle the situation. And women don't know how to bring this realization to the man. So I believe whether right now, live recording, live streaming, or later on recording, wheresoever, whichever part of the society as the program is beamed across many states in the country, also to many other foreign countries, and to the YouTube and to the Facebook Live. Let every man realize it. Child is not exclusive, neither property nor responsibility of the mother. Fair enough, certain responsibilities, certain tasks mother can do better than a man. That's the biological endowment, biological gift. We celebrate it, we respect it. But there's a lot which a man should. We keep on seeing suffering girls where the father is not on the scene, whether working the Gulf or a strange father, a strange mother father. Or father meets only once in a week. We have seen the agony of such. And for whatever reasons, mother and father can't see eye to eye, I often have brought them to senses, often have tried to bring senses to them. That your main duty is towards children, not your own ego. You may not like certain qualities in your wife or in your husband, but the purpose you got married was to have a child in the family and to grow with that. So you ought to throw away, you ought to sideline micro to major issues to let the family life go, let the family life get going. Today I'm not well, so I'm speaking in my little low voice and a little more confidence, so a little low force. But that does not take away the gravity of this topic. I'm very, very clear that all men, all women should celebrate their children, should treat them day in and day out as a blessing. And if I may say so, the last point. हम सब लोग मंदिर जाने को तैयार हैं, प्रेयर करने को तैयार हैं, बड़े बड़े प्रेयर के प्लेस जाने को तैयार हैं, पर हम अपने घर में अपने बच्चों को डांटते भी हैं, गालियां भी देते हैं, कस भी करते हैं, उनको टॉर्चर भी करते हैं, उनको लव भी हम कंडीशनल लव देते हैं. तुम ये करोगे तो ये मिलेगा, ये नहीं करोगे तो नहीं मिलेगा. हमारी बाहर की हुई कितनी भी प्रेयर, किसी भी तरह की प्रेयर, नाम लेने की जरूरत नहीं है. कुछ लोग छोटी छोटी बात सुनकर भी बहुत जल्दी प्रवोक हो जाते हैं. हमारे मन में क्यों कहा? नहीं भाई, हम सबके बारे में कह रहे हैं. अगर मैं भी मंदिर जाके भगवान के सामने प्रार्थना करूं, लेकिन मैं बच्चों के साथ इल ट्रीटमेंट करूं, तो मैं फार्स कर रहा. अगर मैं बच्चों को सड़क पर छोड़ दूं, 6 बच्चे मेरे घर के बाहर घूम रहे हैं, कई बार तो लोगों को नाम भी याद नहीं होता. यू मे नॉट बिलीव इट. मेरा 5वां बच्चा, मेरा 6ठा बेटा, नाम क्या है सर को जाके बताते हैं. नाम क्या है भाई बताना. छोटे वाले से पूछते हैं बड़े वाले का नाम क्या है. Of course they can't remember. So let parents shake themselves up. Take the responsibility that the child in your house is God, is living God. You may or may not go to mosque and the Gurudwara and the church and the temple. But the child is a living God with the purest soul, with the purest consciousness. He doesn't have malice of the word. He doesn't have manipulation of the word. He doesn't have that mind which you are getting. Treat him, respect him, adore him, love him. That's more than a prayer. Very often these thoughts come to my mind. Example, I rarely prepare what I have to talk, honestly. Last 1.5 years, really prepared. But I pray to God to give me the right thoughts so that I can put it across. And this is one of the thoughts which I really got this morning in my early morning sleep. That children are the living God. If they are happy, whole life would be blissful. If they're not happy, whatever you may do, whatever you may earn, you may be president, vice president of the company, or whatever you may be, your life has gone futile. So I'm stopping here, Mr. Lal. Today I've spoken 3 minutes more because of my slurs. Please, thank you very much. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rajivanan, and a special thanks to you. Being not feeling well is then only, and this shows the commitment, and that commitment which you have fulfilled. Then you have given so many beautiful thoughts. And what Dr. Rajivanan says, the children to be celebrated. And one thought which he has given today is that the child is a God. And he says, if you go to the temple, and then he corrected himself because he knows nowadays it's a very, we have become so insensitive. If you will only talk about temple, then some fellow will say, why you only talk about temple? Why not other religion? So then next time he mentioned about all that 4 things, that is church, mosque, and Gurudwara, and the temple. And you have forgotten the Jain temples also and other things. All, wherever you go and pray according to Dr. Rajivanan, if you are not taking care of your children, if your children are unhappy, then those all prayers are useless. And he is very, clear, and he is right also. He says those who have a happy children or their daughter or son, they can live very happily. But if their children are not happy for any reasons, then the parents cannot live happy. So according to him, children are blessings. He has even compared he has mentioned about the trees. He mentioned how the nature wants that the continuation should be there. And he mentioned how the gilhari or those birds, how they are taking and spreading the seeds here and there. But for the human being, he says, it is only possible if you celebrate. Don't take it that this is your child or my child, or you are not responsible or I am not responsible. I know that Dr. Rajivanan, being such a senior psychiatrist, marriage counselor, he is getting so many of his clients. He never want to term them as a patients. He knows the ins and outs, how they are behaving. And many fights are because of the children, for the whatsoever the reason. And that's why if anyone wants to be happy, according to Dr. Rajivanan, they must celebrate the children. They must consider them as God. And then if they will consider them as a God, and it is there also that Bhagwan hi, bacche Bhagwan ka roop hote hain. The children are the you can say the mirror or in other way we can say God. So according to Dr. Rajivanan, we must celebrate them. They are the blessings, and we must not give them something, or we should not do something where our children are not going to happy. Thank you very much, Dr. Rajivanan. I will come to you with the question. Till that time, you can take rest, give rest to your throat, and we hope that by the next week, you will be perfectly all right, so that next time you will be speaking very forcibly also. Thank you very much. Now, I would like to invite my next panelist guest. I will just see whether she has joined or not.
She has joined.
Miss Kirti Raj. No.
She has joined.
Pomila. Are you Miss Kirti Raj, Miss Pomila? Please unmute, Miss Pomila. Please unmute. You are on mute.
Yeah.
Yes, you are Miss Kirti Raj?
Yeah, I am Kirti.
Okay, because the name is going as Pomila. It will be live telecasted as Pomila. So what I suggest, if you please correct it. Yeah, thank you very much. So my next panelist guest is Miss Kirti Raj Manucha. Miss Kirti Raj is the head HR of a leading fintech company at New Delhi. She is having 24 years of experience in human resources, strategic planning, organizational development, talent management, business partnering, and leadership development. Her last assignment has been with Brinks India Private Limited in the capacity of Chief of Human Resource Officer. She also worked on leadership level with FedEx and Adidas. She is MBA from Birla Institute of Management and Technology. Her best engagement is to spend time with her children, Uday and Pomida. Welcome, Ms. Kirti Raj Manucha, on our show. Ms. Kirti, you have heard what Dr. Rajivanan has said. And he says that the child is nothing but God. You are also mother, as well as you are doing basically in the human resource strategic planning, you are dealing with the human resources. And and you know what are the mental conditions of those who are meeting you across. We would like to know your views. Children are blessings. Miss Kirti Raj Manucha, please.
Thank you, sir, for inviting me here. So, yes, as you rightly said, I heard the conversation, and we all believe, whether India or abroad, we all believe that the children are the best gift from God, and people make so many sacrifices for the development and of the children. And those who do not have children, they go for a lot of medical treatment and a lot of mental agony till the time they don't get a children. Even Dr. Rajivanan talked about adoption of a child, which brings so much of happiness and keeps the bonding of the family and united, even husband and wife relationship when the child is there. So yes, saying that, I would also add that being a woman, people make a lot of sacrifices where people on a senior position at times, even if engineers or MBA, if there is not enough family support, although India does have very good family support system, but those who are living in nuclear families, even women at times has to quit the job for, adopting a child, or if it's her own biological child, looking after the child. And that goes for that's a big sacrifice. But when the child takes birth, it is a lot of happiness which he or she brings to the family. Whether it is he or she, it's a happiness in the family which stays with us. I would say when we give birth to the child, we have a lot of expectation, where we expect the child will do very well in his studies, the child will have a very good career, will look after us in our old age. So when we start expecting, then the problem comes that expectation at times, if it is not met, that brings unhappiness. So I feel that expectation again has to be managed, because we can give our best to the child by giving the good values and making him or her a good responsible citizen. So the expectation, in my opinion, should stays with good values and making him a good respectful citizen, and should not be an obstacle in our happiness. If the child is in any manner somehow not very good in his studies, and then we are putting a condition that if you will do good, then only we will love you. So that should be selfless love, because here we are getting selfish and putting our expectation on the child, which makes the happiness into unhappiness. So this is one thing which I would always say, that selfless love for the child. But I'm not saying sacrificing on education. Showing the good direction is very important, spending good time. Because if we have seen many cases where people are going to consultants, counselors, Dr. Rajivanan is there. And similarly, people go to many counselors, and the schools have got many counselors available right now. Why the counselors are available? Because parents are not giving enough time to the child, which is causing child getting directionless and other issues, people go into drugs. Why this happens? Because we are not able to give enough time, and we are compensating that with monetary gain. So here the clashes happens, where the happiness turns into unhappiness, because the child may go astray, or will not follow the good values which you were expecting. So here the control can come by giving time and love and good values. And that good values will come when you are setting a right example. You are expecting child to be home at time, but we are ourselves not reaching home at times. We are expecting child not to drink liquor, and have a very positive friend circle, and spend a quality time in studies, and not so much time in gaming and mobiles and all those things. Then we have to set a right example, that okay, we are also balanced, not that we are playing mobile and expecting child to be controlled. So these are some of the things. And also, with this beautiful gift, we expect the child will look after us in the old age and will stay with us always. At times doesn't happen. That again we have to think, because the child has not asked us to give him birth. We decided to give birth to our child. So whether we expect the child to be with us throughout and spoil his career, even if he's getting opportunity to work outside, getting opportunity to study somewhere else, not which is not our hometown or where we are staying. So that kind of a burden we should not give to the child by making him emotional. I feel so. Telling him that, see, we have done these things with you, so you don't leave us. We have to let go a few things, because things are evolving. if the career opportunity is there. So those are some of the things which I feel that to maintain the happiness and positivity, we have to have a selfless love with the child, and not the expectation always that he will do this or he will not do this with when we are old. Obviously, I'm not saying the responsibilities or the values to be compromised, where if the child is responsible and he has got good values, he will always look after you well, and he will always be with you throughout in all the manner to support you if he is a responsible citizen. So my stress here will be giving a good value system to the child, respect, making him a responsible citizen, not expecting too much from the child in terms of that he will give us back whatever we have given him, or I have sacrificed my career, so he will also sacrifice his career for me. If the values are there, those kind of things he will automatically do, but we should not expect those kind of things with the gift which we have received from the God, and give him emotionally, or torturing him with those kind of things that you do this or I did this. I think we have to set the things free, the way the person can fly and do better good for himself or herself in his life, in his career, and not bound him with a lot of things which we Indian mentality does at times. I'm not saying get Western here, but a balanced approach is always needed for the win-win situation on both ends. So that's what Mr. Lal, I have to say here.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kirti, for giving your views. And she is very clear, and she very rightly says that the children are definitely the blessings of God. But whether we are giving them good, right values or not, that depends on us. We are having lots of expectations, and once we have lots of expectation, and and from the childhood we expect from the child that if he is not doing well in the education, and our expectation is high, and then we will be not treating the child properly or putting some conditions. Similarly, she says that our expectation during the elderly age, the child should take care of you. Until unless you will not give the good values, according to Ms. Kirti, the child will, if you give the good values, child will take your care automatically. She also mentioned that you have to set up the right things in front of the child. If you say not to drink to a child, then definitely the parents have to set up that why they are drinking or why they should not drink. So they should also leave those things if they want that the child should not drink. So similar thing, according to Ms. Kirti, the main thing is, although many of the high positions people sacrifice their career only for the children, but in India, the advantage in the joint family, which is not there in other countries, but still now because of the nuclear families nowadays, it is not easy to keep the career as well as the child benefit at one time. So many families, many ladies generally sacrifice their higher positions and take care of the child. But still, if we will give them good values, if we will not expect much from them, then definitely it's a very, very beautiful thing given by the God, and we must take it as a blessing. Thank you very much, Ms. Kirti, for giving your very, very positive views and a very enlightening views, which I'm sure the parents should understand. Expectation, and we are seeing expectation from a 3 or 4 years old child that he should be number one in the class, he should not be doing everything number one. How come a child of 3 or 4 years? You have to give the values, you have to go ahead slowly, you explain everything, child will do, but don't put a pressure on him. Thank you very much, Ms. Kirti. Now I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and she is CA Vibha Jain. CA Vibha Jain is a chartered accountant based at Mumbai. She started her career in 2005. In last 16 years, she has been part of Tier 1 CA firm in India, established her own practice. She is associated with various management colleges and Institute of Chartered Accountants of India as a general management and soft skill trainer. She loves cooking, dancing, and traveling. Welcome, CA Vibha Jain, on our show. CA Vibha Jain, you have heard what Dr. Rajivanan as well as what Ms. Kirti Raj Manucha has spoken. And both have given their views very, very clearly. Blessings, but what are the things, what is actually happening? Now, we would like to know from you, your views on children are blessings. Miss CA Vibhajan. CA Vibhajan, please.
Thank you, Dr. Goel. Thank you, Dr. Rajivanan. Thank you to all the panelists. I mean, it's such a great platform wherein we can discuss such kind of issues, which actually, in today's scenario requires a lot of awareness. Coming to today's topic, children are blessings. I mean, there is no doubt about it that children are blessings. And this is the only blessing which after becoming a mother, you understand how much, nurturing process comes into the picture. So I would introduce myself as a daughter because I'm a child too to my parents. As a mother, I'm a mother of 13-year-old and a chartered accountant. So being a daughter and being a mother to a daughter, I mean, I can relate how selfless my mother was when she was raising me. She gave me those values, which I believe I should pass on to my daughter so that she becomes a good human being. Nurturing is a very, very natural process, which in our family scenarios, we need to have. Because if we have that kind of compassion, that kind of love that in our families, there is no reason our kids would not be happy. I mean, I was hearing to you, Dr. Lal, wherein you were mentioning the world statistics. I was also hearing to Dr. Rajiv Anand, wherein, we were talking about, he was telling about how nurturing or how the nature has developed itself, wherein nurturing is a very natural process. And it, hurts at times when you see small children begging at roadside. It hurts to see, when maids come at our home and they say, I am unable to teach my daughter or my children. And they say, I am working. And then you feel good about the fact that I'm working for the fact that I can give that kind of education to them so that they can have a life which is based out of learning, based out of education, wherein they are capable enough to lead a life which they plan for. I have been reading a lot of articles these days when they talk about mindful parenting, awareness, which I guess while we were growing up, it was more of a mother's job. That's the reason I also said that my mother gave me a selfless, loving life. But now today's scenario, it's an equal partnership. Everybody in the family believes, giving rightful values to their kids, love to their kids, so that in turn, the kids automatically develop that kind of attitude and that kind of attribute in themselves. There are many NGOs in these days, like Teach for India, Youth for Seva, which are working selflessly for uplifting that part of children in India, especially, wherein they are giving education to girls, education to kids. They are also even helping them to identify what kind of career path they can choose after doing their 10th, after doing their 12th, and also helping them to pursue further education so that they can have rather than just being labor jobs, they are able to do jobs which are based out of education, lead a very fulfilling life, which probably in their childhood they were not able to. So, but even having said that, I mean, nowhere it can be said that child are anywhere burden to anybody. Yes, the means could be an issue. However, if the parents are aware, if they know how to help or how to earn to help their kids, I think even, you hear a lot of kids who work and they educate themselves also because they're aware that education is so very important in today's scenario. But all of this comes out of awareness, and it is frankly a duty of all the citizens, whomsoever you come across, to make them aware that education, that giving good values, that love, unconditional respect is what makes your life a blessing. Because that kid, that small child, when the child is born, the kind of selfless love that child gives you, that teaches you how to give back that kind of selfless love, and that kind of bonding, compassion. You become responsible, you become mature, you learn a lot of things from your own experience of being a parent. So all of that helps in developing yourself as a good human being, and that's how children are a blessing.
Okay, thank you very much, CA Vibhajan, for giving your views. And she says children are blessing, no doubt about it. And she mentioned that being a daughter and a mother of a daughter, she feels that it is really a pleasure. It's really a experience to be to have a child. And she says that although there are statistics and whatnot, but we have to see so many NGOs are also working for upliftment of the children conditions. But she says how you are going to inculcate good values to the children and how you will take care of them. See the you can say unstoppable love from the child. One can very well imagine if you will give the love, if you do the proper care, if you give the proper values, the child is really blessings. And according to her, no doubt, and the child are blessing, children are blessing. So one has to go only for that. Thank you very much, CA Vibha Jain, for giving your positive views. Now I would like to come to my last but not the least panelist, and she is Miss Shraddha Murarka. Ms. Shraddha Murarka is an experienced psychological counselor, life coach, and a recognized NLP transformational trainer and coach certified from NFNLP USA. Sorry. Ms. Shraddha's approach to training and providing therapy is integrated. She uses techniques from various fields like NLP, energy healing, psychotherapy, chakra balancing, deep relaxation, etc. for transformation. With her calm and empathetic personality, she provides the space for self-exploration, healing, and transformation. In a career spanning almost 22 years, she has helped thousands of people by empowering, motivating, supporting, and guiding them to achieve personal and professional life goals. She believes in constant learning and self-growth at a personal level. Integrity and acceptance are the cornerstone of her work, making her the amazing professional that she is. Welcome, Ms. Shraddha Murarka on our show. Ms. Shraddha Murarka, you have heard our earlier panelists, Dr. Rajivanan, Ms. Kirti, CA Vibha Jain, and all have mentioned very clearly the children are blessings, with some caveat. Now we would like to know your views on children are blessings. Ms. Shraddha Murarka, please.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be on this platform today to be discussing this very, very beautiful topic with such wonderful people. Thank you, Dr. Lal, for this wonderful platform, which gives us a way to connect with people and discuss things which are so important. Thank you, Dr. Anand, for having me here. Greetings to all of you. Children, are they a blessing? As a parent of two, definitely they are. 18 years I've been on this journey with my two blessings, and I have learned so much for them. Dr. Lal has compared them to gods because you have to give them that kind of respect, that kind of love, and have that kind of connection with them. Ms. Katie spoke about how our expectations sometimes are our relationships, about how we need to be more of role models and less of teachers. Vibha spoke about how they give us so much pleasure if you only know how to be with them properly. I would add, so we've seen the same thing from so many different angles. I would like to take off on a tangent altogether. And I'm doing this because it's such a topical thing for me, because of late, there's so many clients who ask me, why do we want to have children? Why should we be parents? We have such comfortable lives. We have such settled lives. We can do anything we want. We are doing so well in our careers. Why do we want this disruption in our life? And it is so sad to hear that. I mean, disruption. So I very often, when I talk to them, when I discuss things with them, this is one thing that I do feel too when Dr. Anand says that, what are we living for? Did we take birth just to earn, just to have a meaningful life and then die? Children, I think in that way, give us a purpose. Once they come in our lives, we become more, much, much more than we were. So I was just thinking when Dr. Anand was speaking about children being a way of God, being gods in a way, I was thinking of something. So I read a lot about Hinduism and the Shastra and Dharma, and it really interests me because there are such wonderful things that we can learn from them. So when so many people today feel that they're living a very meaningless life, living a very purposeless life, they don't really have that kind of satisfaction in life. When I read about the Dharma, it mentions a very interesting thing. It talks about 4 stages. The first stage is that of being a child or being a student, where you are learning, where you're setting a foundation for the next stage of your life, which is family and social. So this is when you get married and when you have children and when you try to give back to society. Then comes the third stage, which is Vanaprasth, when you detach from all this and try to focus more on giving back. You got so much, now it's your turn to give back. So you focus on giving back. And then as the last stage, when you take sannyas from everything altogether and focus only on your moksha and enlightenment. Every stage leads to the next one. As a student, what you learn, how you work on it, start a career, sets the stage for what kind of family life you will have, how you will provide for it, how you live that life, how much of yourself you give into it, sets the stage for the next stage, where you take a step back and now start giving to the rest of the society, which sets the stage for the time when you give up the world altogether because you fulfilled everything, you know you've done enough. So for me, children are a blessing because they are one of the biggest factors of self-growth. They make you so much, much more than what you are. Just think of it. All of us as parents, all of us have children. Just think about how we were before we had our child. Think of the time when we first got to know that we were going to be parents, the immediate thought of having this baby, what are the things that we are going to be doing for it, what are the changes that we will need to make in our life, the happiness, the anticipation of it. A couple who had come to me for counseling, they were very, very keen not to have a child. The whole family was pressuring them. There was a lot of societal pressure, but they didn't want to have a child. So when we were talking, we discussed a lot of things and we went around the bush. And a year later, they came back with a baby in their arms. And the mother, I would have understood. The father said, ma'am, the first time I held this little life in my life, everything changed for me. He's like, suddenly I was no longer me. I was the father of this baby. And it gave me this sense of awe, this sense of wonder that God thinks I'm capable enough of nurturing this little life. And I think that is what a child is all about. It tells you so many things that you can do. It teaches you so many things that you can be. It reminds you of so many things that you've forgotten. So a child is a blessing because he is a total continuum into self-growth. And on that line, there's so many things that a child teaches us. Can you think of a few? For me, the first thing that a child taught me was selflessness. Suddenly, life was no longer about me, what I wanted to do, what my priorities was. So if the baby wanted to wake up at 6, I had to be up at 6. If she didn't want to sleep till 3, she wouldn't sleep till 3. And my reward for that would be this beautiful angelic smile. It would be this warm snuggling in my arms. It would be the weight of this lovely life with me. For me, the next lesson that I learned from my baby was about responsibility. Suddenly, it was no longer. So yes, we did have a life where we would just pack our bags and go off on a holiday any day. No worries about where we would go, how we would manage, how would the next meal come. With a baby, you have to think of 1,000 things and a few more. But we did it. We still took those trips with our babies, with our girls, and we just did it with a bit more planning. So those of you who think that, you can't have children because they'll tie you down in the most beautiful ways. They'll teach you to become very, very creative with things. I've seen women who are working. I've seen parents who are working from home and the way they dealt with the children. Some of them came up with very weird ways also. I had a parent who tied up her child's leg to the chair so that it wouldn't run away anywhere. But most of them would just get the children with them wherever they were. So it's like we were having meetings with a mother who's dealing with a baby, another one who's helping her child with her homework, a father who's driving and talking on the phone being on a meeting. So children teach you to be creative, to think out of the box. Children also teach you so much about being in the moment. Think about it. I think we've all forgotten that. How to be just here now and enjoy this moment. All the time, it's all about, okay, what do I have to do next? What do I have to do next? What do I have to do next? Look at a child. If she is busy with coloring, that's all she's going to be in. There's nothing that's going to disturb her. She will not think about her homework. She will not think that you're calling her for dinner. She will not think about 1,000 other things. It's that one coloring book which will totally engross her. When's the last time we did something like this? A child teaches you about acceptance. It doesn't matter to them who you are, what you do, how well-dressed you are. A child just senses love and acceptance. They will talk to anybody. They will play with anybody. It just doesn't matter to them. So by nature, I am not a person who talks to people very easily. But I see my daughter and she can just start talking to anybody. So whether it's an uncle, an auntie, a bhaiya, a didi, or little girl her age, a chota baby, she is equally interested in all of them. She is equally open to all of them. It doesn't matter. The bus conductor will interest her as much as the principal would. She would have very, very engrossed discussions with her grandmother and with her little cousin. So it just doesn't matter to a child what you are and where you're from. They are open to you. They are ready to just experience you. Another thing that children have taught me is to be joyful with anything. I mean, they can be happy about the most ridiculous of things. When my daughter was about 4 years old and we were going out, we were going out for a party and she wanted to wear new shoes. And I was like, no, you'll spoil them. It's going to be all kichad and muddy out there and they'll get dirty. She's like, Mama, please. And that plead and I couldn't stop myself. So I said, go ahead, okay. And we went out. And you won't believe, as soon as she stepped out, there was a puddle and she jumped right into it. And I was like, oh, the shoes. And she was like, wow, Mama, look at the rain that I made. That is the perspective of a child. You learn to see everything from new eyes. You learn to feel everything in new ways. So a child opens up so many more perspectives for you. And one very, very important thing that my children have taught to me. In fact, my daughter is now almost 18. She'll be 18 in 13 days. And she tells me, Mama, just focus on what you enjoy. Take out the time for things that you like to do. Stop being so busy. And, it's like, but how? I have to do this and I have to do that and I have to manage this. And she's like, Mama, you don't run the world. And the world doesn't run you. So learn to live. And I'm like, look at that. My little girl, this little baby that I had is now teaching me how to live my life. If you allow, children can give you these kind of gifts. So they are blessings indeed, because they just change your entire life for you if you allow them. Yes, there are a lot of responsibility. Yes, it is our job to take care of them, to nurture them, to give them whatever we can, materially, spiritually, in terms of values, everything. But at the end of the day, children bring their own personality. They come with their own destiny. And they teach you to take a step back and let destiny unfold for themselves and for you. So I think just accept that blessing, just accept that gift and just see what happens. Because children are not only a blessing, they are a miracle. Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you for letting me share these views.
Children are not blessings, but they are miracles, says Ms. Shraddha Murarka. And she has made many points, but few points I would just like to highlight. First point, she says, one of the points she says that the child is blessing, no doubt about it. And they are teaching the elders how the selflessness, how the acceptance, how the lovingness, and so many things. And she says their innocence and the acts, what they are doing, if one can enjoy those moments. So when people feel that there's really blessings. And she has mentioned how the her daughter is now saying that you must not do this, you do this, try to give more time. I would just like to add one thing in here. There was some research and some studies which conducted, and they says from 3 to 11 years is the age which is in the marketing, they says it's a Jiddi class. Jiddi class means ki those are the child who can decide what to wear for themselves as well as for their parents, what to eat, where to go. And earlier it was not like this. I'm sure Dr. Rajivanan will agree. At that time, whatsoever things are coming to our house, we have to accept it. But today the child is deciding what is to be bought, how to do even the decor of the house. And that's why if you see the advertisement nowadays, main or maximum advertisements are attacking the children because they feel that the children are the deciding factor, and which Ms. Shraddha has mentioned very clearly that the children have that thing. And about the destiny, what she mentioned, we can give whatsoever we want to give to them, but their own destiny. But one thing is very clear, which Ms. Kirti has mentioned here, I will mention that if we will give good values to them, then definitely the destiny which will be there will be far better than if we will not give them the values. And those values will definitely reflect in their future life. Thank you very much, Ms. Shraddha, for giving your very, very positive views about your own experience. Now I would like to go for questions, and I would like to make a caveat again. I am also father of 3 children, and I am also grandfather of 5 children. So I know the happiness, the blessings, everything from the children and more from the grandchildren. But as a host of a program, I have to see the entire country. I have to see those who have not. So my question goes to Dr. Rajivanan. Dr. Rajivanan, children are blessings only for urban, rich, educated class, not for those who are weaker class, those underprivileged class or uneducated class. For them, it is a burden because they have to see, they have to bring more, they have to earn more to feed that new mouth, new life. And many times they curse, as you also mentioned, कि ना पैदा होता, वो तो you were mentioning of say from a elite family. But we have seen, although mother of any class, they enjoy, but many times we have seen the rural and uneducated and those who are very poor, they feel that this is not blessings. We have got something which is we never wanted. What you say about this, Dr. Rajivanan?
Mr. Lal, first of all, I do not totally agree with that perception. What you said, for a poor family or in rural area, children may not be blessing, they may be a liability, another mouth to be fed. In fact, entire workforce, be it in our country or be it in other neighboring countries, in the construction field, in the industry field, is going from lakhs of people who are coming from the rural area. And they are not merely sucker of the resources. They're not just another mouth to be fed. They're contributing in more than one ways to build up the society, to build up the building, to build up the colony, to build up the nation in so many different ways. So each person who is getting born cannot remain merely a liability. One thing. Secondly, I can't resist the temptation of saying something which Shraddha floated from it, and you also carried it forward. And let me put it in succinct words. Children are anti-aging agents. Anti-aging agents. If children are not around, especially grandchildren, many of us would grow older faster. If children are around, they speak in their simple, innocent way. My granddaughter, less than 3 years, yesterday told me, Dadu, you are not well today. Don't go to clinic. Dadu, you are not well today. You don't go to clinic. I was surprised how come she had the sensitivity. Or the other grandchild that, Nanu Dadu, Dr. Dadu, you stay at home today. How are you? Now, many of these small incidents may go unnoticed because like me, 100 of those people and me, especially being in this profession of psychiatry, have developed a serious persona, serious frown look on the face, serious external behavior, always remaining thoughts, lost in the thoughts. We are always worrying about something or preparing something for the next. Children are the best teacher to bring you out of that to the current moment, to the present moment. And there is a joy, there's a playfulness, there's happiness in the present moment. And connecting to the present moment is anti-aging. Anti-aging property, anti-aging therapy. So I'm very strongly convinced it's a great fortune for old people to have grandchildren. It would be misfortune if the grandchildren go to other country, or they are not born, or they fly to greener pastures, so and so. Back to you, Mr. Lal.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rajivanan. Now my question goes to Ms. Kirti. Ms. Kirti, Dr. Rajivanan has also explained that they are blessings. You are on such a high position and you have dealt with so many people, or you are dealing with them. My question to you is, our girl child, I'm not saying, again, I'm putting the caveat, I'm saying not the urban educated and this thing. There are even educated people, and I can give the figures, I will back the figures, even in Delhi, which is, and even Delhi, only the GK I am talking, where the maximum education and elite people are staying, the sex ratio shows very clearly what is the condition. So my question to you is, girl child, dark skinned, etc., are not treated as blessings in India. We have seen the many parents, or not, I'm not talking of the lady, I'm not talking of the mother, I'm talking of the father and the father's family. They want boy, and for that, whenever the girl born, they never treat her as a blessing. Rather, many times they treat her as a curse, and they want again to try and have the boy. And many times 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 girls, and then the boy who comes. What you say about this, Miss Kirti?
Yeah, I agree. Even in educated families, whether Punjabi, non-Punjabi, Rajasthani, whatever family, people look forward to have a boy child over girl child. It's not even the question of complexion, but it is the sex. They prefer a boy child over a girl child. Probably the reason we all know is that the boy child will stay with us and look after us in a age.
Excuse me, Dr. Anand, please mute. Sorry, doctor.
Will fly away, and we have to give dowry and those kind of things. They think, and that is the reason. Probably even the education part. We see people, the girls get not so much at times. I mean, things are evolving in educated sector, but still, at times they do not want to give good education to girl child over a boy child because the boy child will look after them. That's what they feel. But to my understanding, we all know as we are evolving, if somebody gets a career choice, whether it's a boy or girl, he will go away. And, we have to look after ourselves with a good health and with other sources. So a girl child, in fact, I've seen are nowadays, whether it's a boy or girl, they all are working. They all are having good career. And the girls are looking after the parents more than the boy child at times because they are more emotional. I'm not saying boys are not emotional, but girls are considered to be more emotional in comparison of others. They are less practical. I'm not saying not being practical. They are not at all practical, but they're very emotional and caring for the parents. So if we will look after them well, whether it's a boy or a girl equally, first of all, they both will have a good career. They both will have good values and respect for parents because they will feel my parents were not biased, and they will look after you better, because the reason for not looking after the girl child was that you were thinking that she will not look after you well or she will go away. But if you will get an equal treatment for both of them, they both will look after you very well with full respect and with no malice that my father was taking care of my brother more and not me, or my birthday was not celebrated in a grand way and my brother's birthday was celebrated, or he was getting a better treatment than me. That equality is there, if the respect is there and good values are there, I think both will look after you very well, whether it's a boy child or girl child.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Kirti. Now my question goes to CA Viva Jain. Ms. CA Jain, both have mentioned that children are blessing. You all agree and we all agree. But the reality, when we see the condition, I'm talking of Indian condition. One side, 1% child labor. In India, the statistics I have already given. Don't you think when you see a child doing the labor work, what feelings mother is getting, whether she feels that I have given a birth to a child for this work, or she at that time, at the time of birth, yes, everybody is so happy if she is not a child, if she is not a girl child. Still I am putting, because I know that I have done many programs on this, and I strongly believe that educated families, good, rich, very, very rich families, they all have this reservation. Whenever the girl is born, I'm not saying everyone, but mostly they immediately feel bad and they never want to celebrate. Although right now I'm in a place called Mangalore, it's a South India. Here, girls are more celebrated. I have seen here the birthday of girls are celebrated in a big way. Boys' birthdays are not celebrated in big way. While in North India, it is totally reversed. People celebrate the boys' birthday in a big way. Girls, now time is changing. So my question to you is, still you believe that children's, for those underprivileged, poor, those who have no means to eat, they consider them, especially if a girl child, a blessing?
So, Dr. Lal, frankly, from their perspective, probably no. But seeing from outside, we say the children will always be a blessing. It is only about the parenting that is involved in it. Yes, because the less of means that they have that kind of thought process. And that's the reason I did mention that there are a lot of NGOs, there are a lot of awareness which has come in today's scenario, wherein even those parents who are not able to, those couples who are not able to have kids, they are looking for adoption so that, they can give a family to a child and be a family together. But for the girl child, as Dr. Anand said, that initially parenting was all about mother. Now in today's scenario, the father has also come into picture, wherein equal parenting is we talk about. Likewise, I guess it will take some time, but for girl child, as Kirti said, totally correct, that it is that expectation that who will take care of us in the old age, or who will take the flag of our family, the clan, the khandan forward, was taken for a boy to be imprecise. But time is changing, time is evolving. For those who are underprivileged, yes, it is difficult, but that cannot be treated as not a blessing. They have to understand, they have to be made aware about the fact. One, they have to understand how many kids they should have. One, child control, so that their situation improves. And if they have children, even a girl child, they have to be made aware about the fact that you have to take care of them, you have to nurture them rather than taking them as a burden.
Okay, thank you very much, C.A. Vibhajan. Now my question goes to Ms. Shraddha. Ms. Shraddha, what about those children who are special children? We term them as a special. Those who have something from the since born, when they born, at birth time, and like autism, like a disease. I have done the program on that, where the medicine is costing 16 crore of rupees, one shot. Do you think those who have those problems from the child, from the birth, they are treated as a blessings or not? You are mute.
I absolutely agree with what you said, Mr. Lal, there. The family goes through a lot of financial burden. They go through a lot of societal pressure, a lot of thing where they are constantly battling with a lot of things. But sir, I have also seen these parents being so attached, so loving, so caring about their children. I have seen how they can fight with the world to show that their child can do a lot. yes, these children are special. They have their own special needs. They are differently abled. They are different from other children. But isn't that what life is all about? So I think more than them, it is we who need to understand and who need to connect better. It is we parents who can explain to our children that, yes, these children are also like you and they want acceptance too. It's just that they express themselves differently. They work things around differently. But at the end of the day, they are children too. And I think at the end of the day, the attitude comes from the parent himself or herself. They can either focus on this. Yes, there are a lot of challenges there. Yes, there are a lot of difficulties that they have to face. But tell me one parent who is not ready to turn the world over for his child. It is these parents who have taught us the most in life. So yes, it is a big challenge for them, but still they are a blessing for their parents and for the rest of the world, because we have learned a lot from them.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Shraddha. Why I am asking these questions? Because I did a program on 14th of November, Children's Day, and I have children as a youth guest. And the majority of children raised this question of child labor. And I was shocked when they were talking and they were saying that what you people, means we, the adults, are leaving the scenario for them, the world for them, the country for them, the society for them. And that's why I feel a child psychology, although you are psychologist, Dr. Rajivanan is a psychiatrist, that they at this age, a young age, if they are talking about this, why we adults are shying away to discuss openly about what is reality, instead of sitting like yesterday, that even the CGI has mentioned, the Chief Justice of India, that when we sit only in the air-conditioned room, we talk about the farmers. We have to be very practical. So now my next question goes to Dr. Rajivanan. Dr. Rajivanan, keeping everything in mind, keeping the blessings as well as the problems which we are facing in India for the children, what are your suggestions or to the government, if any, and advice to the parents?
Okay. First thing to every parent, we have been having extensive discussion, extensive intellectual discussion, extensive spread of knowledge, gain information from Google and 100 other sources. We talk about 100 topics. Somewhere we miss out. They're much more important than talking about or proving one-upmanship is real care for the next generation. I would request, rather than going once in a week to a prayer place, doing prayer 5 times a day, doing prayer twice a day, much more important is talking to the child 15 minutes, minimum once, twice, 3, 4 times a day. You're talking to the God. That God living somewhere really is not bothered about whether you go down before him or don't go down. But the God living in the house is waiting for you to provide him nurturance and guidance, which would go far, far for decades together. Today, each one of us is wherever we are, as I said in the beginning, if we got our parents. That's one thing. Second part, the government. Government, as we know by now, does 30-40% for the society. And some popular or less popular government does 60% for their own house, for own kith and kin, to amass the wealth for their generations. So this government itself is becoming a dubious word. Yes, on the paper, there's a word called government, but the government would really be government when they care for the people. When their care get manifest in the society. Why not these data should come that every village should have a primary education place, secondary education place. Every district should have few colleges, few secondary colleges. Every district should have a degree college. Why don't these data should come in the public? I assume that they are being made, but why not let us know periodically? The government can do a lot when so many private enterprises are having a coaching classes. When government encourage anybody having coaching classes, the government would give tax remedy or government would support it in direct, indirect ways. Okay. Let more and more education come. Thank you, Mr. Lal. Back to you.
Thank you. Ms. Kirti, 1 minute time only. What is your suggestion to the or advice to the parents? Please unmute.
Okay, so my advice to parents, as I said, was always, be open and transparent with your child, and give them understand what exactly is needed there to bridge the gap. Set your expectation properly, love your child selflessly. And when it comes to government and others, they're already doing a lot of Beti Bachao, and all those yojanas are already getting publicized a lot. I've seen a lot of advertisement and a lot of awareness program. They're already giving free education to and midday meal to some of the things. Maybe this has to be further stressed upon, digitalization to be noticed if that is happening or not. And I think those way things will.
Thank you very much. CA Vibha Jain, please unmute.
Yeah.
Yes, same question.
So first thing, for the government perspective, so frankly, government has come up with a lot of schemes called CSR, wherein a lot of funds have been collected from the big corporates because they have to remit that 2% of the net profit in a CSR fund, which eventually goes to the NGOs, which eventually work for the upliftment of kids, of children, their education. But yes, a lot of work is yet to be done on that. More stringency is required. As far as parents are concerned, the only advice, frankly, that I have today is that please be mindful about what you are giving to your child, because this is exactly what the child will give you back and to the society.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Shraddha.
Yes,
please
sir.
unmute. Same question. Yeah.
So I wouldn't call it a message. It's more of a request. When a child comes into your life, it's a time to stop teaching and start learning. Because when you learn, the child will learn from what you do. The child does not listen to what you say. He sees what you do and he does the same. So absolutely agree with Vibha when he says the child will give you what you give him back. So give your child a lot of love, a lot of acceptance, and a lot of nurturing. To the government, I don't want to say anything. It's doing what it can.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Shraddha. So viewers, you have seen children are blessings. They are blessings for everyone, whether it's small or whether it's a poor, uneducated housewife or a laborer, whosoever. Children are blessings, or a rich person. But only thing is, we have to take care of them. If we will not take care of them, if we will not inculcate the right values to them, then we should not try to boost them. And as Dr. Rajivanan has mentioned, child is a God. If we treat them as a God, or if we treat them even in a proper way, which is required, then definitely you will be very happy. As one of the panelists says, if the children are happy, you are going to be happy. So my take is, please take care, and in case require, which is happening in other countries, please take the guidelines from the counselors about the parenting. Understand, then you will enjoy more and more, because you know that why the child is awake up to 3 o'clock. Earlier, we used to get it from the grandmothers or great-grandmothers, but nowadays, because of the nuclear family, you require all these things, and that is much required. So thank you very much. And today's program has been live telecasted by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon se, Samvad Sarokar News, Bharat Post News, Karu News, as well as it was shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And our endeavor is to bring to you every day a new topic in media conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 a.m. Tomorrow is a very special day, and the day is the International Men's Day. And tomorrow our topic is Man Will Be Man. And our panelists are Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran, former visiting professor, IIM Lucknow and University of Texas, Dallas, USA, Senior Director, Don Bosco Group, Bengaluru. Mr. Ashish Kaul, leading TV and film actor, Mumbai. Advocate Gagan Gandhi, Managing Partner, Niti Nyay Law Office, New Delhi. And Ms. Khushbu Revatkar, IT consultant, actor, model, coach, show director, and social activist, brand ambassador, Modular Kitchen, Mumbai. So please tune in tomorrow for media conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 a.m. Thank you very much, Dr. Rajivanan. Thank you very much, Ms. Kirti. Thank you very much, CA Vibha Jain. And thank you very much, Ms. Shraddha Murarka, for giving your very, very, I must say, beautiful views, full of blessings. And all the viewers who have watched today's program might be enlightened. And I am sure everyone will celebrate the parenting The children and the children's are blessings, no doubt about it. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching.